Hi, this is the Daily Dharma, and my name's Dina. Thank you so much for joining today. I wanted to do this reading justice. I've already actually done the full reading, and I just keep running out of time. So, in the interest of time, let's go ahead and see if I can do a little bit quicker job at conveying the messages. In the pre-shuffles, I was going through and I got up to do something real quick, and I saw that on one of my decks here, the Sacred Earth Oracle, I believe, Sacred Earth Energy Oracle, they're all listed below. There was this great big spider, probably larger, probably about a 50-cent piece in American coins, quite large, black, and I didn't notice at first, but before reading, I don't like to kill animals anyways, but you can't stay here, buddy. So I got him scooped up and went to take him outdoors. And then I recognized that he had 4 legs on one side, but only 2 on the other. So I'm not sure if somehow something I had moved around in here did that, but I mean, all you can do is move along. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So transplanted the spider, and I decided that that was the deck we should use. And then one of the other decks had something with it, and I decided to pull that one up. That's the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle. So that's where we'll start today. The one that popped out was In the Light of the Moon. And so it says, a full moon can shine light on what you've been resisting. This can be anything from your fears to your soul's beauty. And then under the deck was replacing what was lost. And this says, you now have the opportunity to rejuvenate and start anew. Create with a new perspective or outlook. This card may also indicate abundance is on the horizon. So I'd like to shift the way that I was previously reading all of this. I mean, it's still the same messages, but I see this and connect to source as being shown under that. I see this as the convergence card from my other deck, which has been talking recently about not only coming together with other individuals, having this coherence and like-minded capacity with others, but also being able to reconnect the fragmented sense of self, recollecting the soul parts and any disowned shadowy bits that we have repressed or needs that we've subdued or not been allowed to take care of. And it also talks about the Akashic memory and our soul heritage, soul star ancestry, perhaps mediumship capacity, all converging and having this totality, this convergence of influences in our ability to recognize that right now with that process, it can feel many different ways for many different individuals, but there's definitely something coming to light, coming to our awareness here that we've been perhaps resisting either intentionally or accidentally. Our connection with source, our ability to connect with source. Yeah, connect to source. Go within to discover what needs to be done. Create the shift required to attract what you want. I didn't see that one in the previous reading. One more under there might want to show, but I've got a lot of cards here. So this led me to look at the astrology, and if you're watching this on a timeless basis, there's 13 months moon cycles a year, 13 moon cycles a year, even though there's 12 months in a calendar year. So you're coming into another moon cycle at all times. And so this is always, the light of the moon always speaks to us. So this may require us to get peaceful and communicate with the earth or with the moon, with the cycles, the ebb and flow. Something about motherhood is definitely coming in today. So something's coming to our awareness. It could be a goal that we're setting for ourselves, some kind of, I was equating this with an escape from captivity, having been performing tricks in captivity and then under the light of the moon, recognizing that you've been practicing jumping over these and through these hoops for so long, you can jump right out of the tank and into the vast, wide ocean. And at that point, it's like, well, what's out there? the pressure to change can bring up old fears. It can bring up many different things. And so the new moon during this time of recording is coming up in just a few days. On May 7th, we've got the new moon in Taurus, which rules the body, the throat chakra specifically, also, hearing, the neck, the mouth, the thyroid gland, sinuses, and metabolism also. So if there's some types of goals or metabolizing our stimuli on any level, it's that integration of ether is its element into sound, vibration, and vibration is the predecessor of matter. As we intuit and then speak forth comes our self-actualization. I always like to equate the chakra system with Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, shown as a pyramid, where we have to achieve the objectives of the root before we can move to the next level. And so it's like safety, security, biological, physiological, food and shelter needs, and reproductive needs before moving into safety and belonging, and then into further up the line, esteem happens at the heart chakra, and then the self-actualization of the teenage years, where instead of following others' paths or others' instructions, something else is calling to us. And there's some type of like the whispers of the ocean deck. The whispers have been coming to us, and now the whisper is becoming more of a roar. And so if we can pay attention to what needs to be changed, sometimes these things can happen very much on the biological level. If we don't understand why we can't self-actualize a goal, maybe we should retrace our steps and say, have I drank enough water today? Which seems not to be related. But there is so much more mental, cognitive, spiritual functionality and presence and peace that can happen when we're fully hydrated, because our vessel doesn't operate on gasoline or diesel. It operates on fuel of a different sort, namely 70% water. And how clear and pure is the water that you're taking in? Anyways, so moving out of the small pond into the big pond, and they're replacing what was lost. It can happen on so many levels, but it was coming through as like, for some it could be this sense of loss of childhood, loss of youth, or loss of a partner through divorce, or just breakups, makeups, nuclear family issues where it wasn't necessarily a coherent situation. It was all about learning and growth, which can sometimes be quite challenging, at the least. So then in the code cards, we got 3: Cosmic Flower, Compassion, and Emergence there. So I was seeing this as our ability to be compassionate with self, with the process, and to recognize the goals and the changes and the shifts that we are actually asking for in our life, and the things that they ask us to do. If we want to get there, we have to answer the Sphinx in the foreground, like have you had your water today? Did you sleep well today? Because all of these things can feed into it. So it's like we're in charge of our DNA's expression through the navigation of the mind, body, spirit, psychological, and etheric connection to all that is. And as sensitive vessels here with sensitive psyches and connections to so many areas of our lives, this can create that overstimulation, and thus the need to calm and clear the mind and the schedule for however long you can fit in at different intervals throughout your day and life so that you can come back at whatever you're trying to achieve fresh and renewed. And this was also coming through with, in the pre-shuffle, we got conception and fertility quite a bit. So there was, like I said, lots of motherhood messages coming through here and the need to change. And for some, yeah, conception and fertility and cosmic flower is like perhaps the emergence of actual life form, but it can also be us rebirthing the self or reframing past experiences so that the outcome that we're experiencing now is framed in a different context. And the context card comes out in a little bit. So this all comes through for a reason. I love it when the cards speak to unto each other. So then I split the deck. Divine Masculine was on the bottom, and then Coherence here. So it's like understanding how to take appropriate action without the urge to guide or control, because that external locus of control has already had its way with us. So now it's like becoming connected to self and moving with the flow of source. It's like listening to the whisper before it comes a yell. It's like we're being called and we're also resonant with it. So we're magnetically drawn to the call. And so we're moving forward in that way. It's like that call. Sorry, pause to speak to the fur baby. So I lost my train of thought. Coming through. Thank you for the break in my channel. So we'll just move on. It'll come right back up. I know it will. Oh, it's Divine Masculine. We were discussing about control versus letting things move us and moving with the flow in harmony in a different way. And so being able to do without over efforting, or being able to understand with compassion instead of blowing things out of proportion. So creating different context within helps the outer to speak through us in more concise ways. So if this is like spiritual matters, taking care of the foundation of our very childhood and life really helps us to reach further into the cosmos, because as above, so below, we must take good care of our root if we want to have a beautiful canopy of leaves. And same thing with like planting the gardens, and we've got a lot of tomatoes in right now. Sometimes you don't want to put them in too big of a pot too soon, because if the roots don't fully develop and have that pressure from the container, then they won't strengthen. They'll get long and lanky and really fragile because they're thin. So yeah, so it's not necessarily about reaching as deeply as possible right away. It's about really allowing things to marinate in our integration phase. I'll just leave that there. And then reaching down into the depths of Mother Earth helps us to reach up into the cosmic umbrella. So here we have these three cards coming out. I'm seeing this as the surface card, and then fragments, and then formation as a process going on within the self. So replacing what was lost, I don't know, this could be loss of a job of an individual that was important to us, or previous partner, but they don't even need to have had a death, but a change in context. Like, we used to be in love and now we're not in love. We used to be friends, but I haven't seen them in ages. But I'm seeing this more as all of the surface level interactions that we have on the day-to-day basis, then yielding, because there's more that we have coming into us that we want to give and share and do. So here we have this fragments card. This could be, these surface level exchanges may have left you feeling defensive, like if this was a divorce, like we used to be on the same page, but because of growth and because we did that when we were young, or because of these shifts and changes, people may have gone their separate ways. Maybe some are coming back together. Maybe someone is arriving that reminds us of something else, or a challenge arises that re-invokes some of those previous misgivings, fears, or anxieties about pushing through change. But then through this process, see all these eyeballs in the core and on that hand. It's like not needing to shield our eyes from the messages and the incoming stimuli from source and environment. It's enabling ourselves to kind of, like this martial arts type of a tai chi, like moving it out of the way, using your opponent's energy to just move them out of the way. Like when a child attacks us, it's then you could put your hand out on their forehead and then they can't reach you. And this is also something that siblings do to each other in torment. So there's something here coming forward where a great enlightenment and ability has come to you to really alchemize your process, to coherently understand how to be that so-called bigger, better man, whether your gender is that or otherwise, to stand tall into your own integrity and to continue to push forward. And so instead of being so in such stark contrast here, it starts to mute and integrate and blend into something else. And you can see these wings beginning here. And so dark and light starts to gain its therapeutic reformation stage. So this could very well be, instead of a literal birth, rebirthing the self through some type of healing or shamanic practice. And so then I'm seeing this as either the healer individual you're working with, or an aspect of your higher self, or your angelic presence, or those in spirit, helping you with this rebirth process and being this vessel that is perhaps helping your dreams to come to fruition even before the seed is able to be planted in the earth of your own vessel, so to speak. So I had split the deck actually to perspective, the one with the angel there, and this context card. And those 3 cards, surface, fragments, and formation, came off of the bottom of the perspective. So that perspective has been a process of having perhaps lack of resonance, pushing into defensiveness and fragmented sense of self that needs to be recollected. It's like, it isn't that the individual is bad, or that we are bad, or that we're bad at this. It's about just lessons in growth. I say justice. Anyways, there's this reformation coming to this perspective. And then the context here, this to me is that primal inner child, that fiery inner being that wants to be innocent, fresh, renewed, and to come fully forward. And below that, we pulled out 2 here. First, unity, and then center. So it's like from that place of that perspective, that gentle holding. I'm seeing the remember all from Harry Potter, where Neville is the forgetful one that was raised to not be certain of himself due to the death of a parent at an early age, raised by his grandmother. And she sends him this remember all that changes color when you forgot something, but then he can't remember what he forgot. Anyways, it's like reviewing and like, do I have self-worth issues? I mean, I feel pretty confident. And then saying, well, sometimes I do this and this. And, every once in a while when people give me their ideas about what they want to do at night together with me, and even though I don't want to, I sometimes compromise that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be self-worth. I'm pulling that forward because it came out on this card over here, but it's like having these questions and challenges reframed now represent something different. They now represent your radical reinvention from remembering what you used to be like or who you used to be like, and how you have come into this moment, and that you still have the power to reclaim good amounts of what was worthy and what was nourishing from your past experiences, recreating some of it in a different context now, or um, something like that, moving along. So this unity is like your ability now to center yourself very deeply in the earth, rooting deeply into your experience, and then creating this unity with your incarnate self in such a way that you're connected with this convergence of influences, shadow and light. And we can take the shadow of other individuals when we're highly sensitive people and integrate those into our own vessel as well. And so we need to definitely look through those and review those for what needs to shift and change. And it could be the way that we are embodying the energies that are coming to us and through us. Because here I sense that through this extreme embodiment, convergence of energies here, that there's this ability for us to either, through the assistance of a leader or healer or mentor, or through being that individual here, we're able to energetically heal something much greater than self. And I forget if I said this in this or the past reading, that it doesn't have to be that we're rebirthing the self either. We can heal our inner child by serving those underserved sections of the community, whether children, poverty stricken, limited mobility, elderly, what else? Special needs in other ways, or shelters for different individuals, homeless, or recovery, on and on and on. There are countless varieties and variations on the dimension of how we serve our land and earth. And I really wanted to talk about this card a bit more. Two very big things were coming through. It's definitely this wise cosmic being, but I'm sensing that this is an aspect of yourself, or whoever this reading is featuring primarily, as being strongly cosmically empowered through that convergence and integration phase here. That now this is what is, sorry for the road noise, folks. This is you replacing what was lost, your lost connection to your soul self, or to your childlike self, to an old way of being. And now with this convergence, you're able to bring the best parts forward. And whether all can perceive of it or not, look at that incredible headdress, or I was even seeing it as tendrils of hair. And I was seeing it like on the movie Avatar with the blue alien beings one, that when they go to the site where their goddess Awa, who is like Gaia, is there's these ancestral trees similar to a weeping willow, which is one of my totem trees. I absolutely love it, with the flexible weeping tendrils of branches. And they're able to take their braid, which has these little feeler things that actually can plug in. So it wraps around the tree branches, and they're able to download ancestral memories, Akashic heritage, Akashic memory from the earth. And then the individual, the main character, is able to convey back. He says something about, I don't even know if this is working, but, speaking back, like, this bad thing is coming, and please come to the aid of the people or the earth. Take back your power and stand firm. I know that you try to be impartial, but it's time to go. And so I feel like this is partially you recognizing, like, do you need to get your literal physicality in order and able to to enable you to go through this next cycle. Like if you're going to have a baby and you're partying all the time, you know, those two things don't go together, or else then it can create many further challenges for yourself, and a fair amount of responsibility for the challenges that you karmically connect with another individual. And I don't mean that in I don't mean to blame, please. I know that that may have come through as a bit insensitive, but I think that you understand. It's a little bit of a warning that this is your power and your potential, where you're using your divine masculine to be fully centered and in body, embodied and in body. So taking care of that root, taking care of your needs. And I'm sensing that all of these chains I was perceiving for the first time, that those are tethers and anchors to this world, whether it's to attachments to other individuals that we love and care for, or to goals that we still have, or to service work that we still feel deeply heart-based connection to, bringing forth these things, to working towards a cause. It's like we're here for a reason and a purpose, and we're connected to so many things. And to come to the full embodied awareness of that is powerful. So we are meant to bring that cosmic force here into Earth in some way. And then to finish up, we went through the Dreams of Gaia deck. So bringing some type of goal or dream into fruition. I know, baby, I'm going fast. He wants to go outside, but he does that every couple minutes. So trust me, he's not in any pain. So we've got some cards I didn't have a chance to go through. These ones were not the first ones to come out, as a matter of fact. All right, pause for the cause, folks. All right, so we have over the perspective card here, I have 3 placed here. We've got this 4 of water. I'll let you take in these cards. 4 major arcana appears to be the Empress. And we've got the 13 of air with this brilliant owl totem here. I feel that this is the cosmic self, either going through some type of astral travel or connection, and it can even be with the so-called underworld. And I don't mean black magic. I mean that the lower realms, for instance, working with individuals that are still immersed in things like drug use, or like a teenage halfway house. Usually they're put there for a reason, and it's not necessarily because they chose it. So there, and the Empress lady is pregnant here also. And I'm seeing that she and he both have this thing in their hand. Hers appears to be, well, hers isn't in her hand. It's this orb, and it connects these 2 cards. But his appears to be a mirror. It looks like he's looking in a mirror, and on the back of the mirror it has 2 faces turned to the sides with 1 eye. And in his face you can see that he's got 1 so-called earthly eye and 1 cosmic eye. It's almost I want to come back to that one. I want to just show them all. So these 3 came out as well. This card with the archer, a meditative pose, and then this hermit type pose. So the archer is 4 of fire with a bird type headdress and a cloak. That was the other thing, just quickly. These chains also appeared to me previously as holding on some type of translucent or transparent cloak over the entire body that then contained the entire cosmos within. And then this one is 14 which is a temperance card to me. And look at all that dragon energy. This is the year of the dragon. 2024 reduces to 8. So it's like having taken aim in some type of a way on a goal, and then reflecting upon that integration. And then the dragons are coming from the self. So it's like having that Kundalini rising experience and then releasing it as doves and coming back into the world, perhaps renewed. So I'm sensing this one. This is the 11 major arcana. He's got a frog behind him. It's almost like the frog became the prince type of a story. But it's almost too like this is possibly a counterpart to this Empress type energy. So maybe we're talking about the process and reflection of each. Interesting. So just a couple more. So we have also a few from the other day. We have this Fool-looking card is the 3 of fire and the 2 of air with this duality card. Both came through on those Beltane readings the last time I used the deck. And it's talking about a fresh start, a healing start, integrating of the duality, which is something that keeps coming up. I see that as the mirror here, and also as that surface card there with the masculine, feminine, surface level integration of our own duality. And then coming through now centered and aware and able to kind of almost navigate the areas unseen. It's like in the sun, there's all these solar storms happening now as well. And those incoming EMFs or whatever they might be called, they really affect the earth. So there's a lag time when we first have one, and then by the time that plasma influence reaches the earth, and it might be really activating our own energy in a powerful way. Especially we might be sitting in the sun in some way, having this enlightening or rebirthing integration process, and it may be either bringing you and another individual back together, or you and a counterpart, or you and an incoming guide. We've got 2 more cards here. 17 major arcana appears to be some type of hermit card, a choice point, like there's this light and dark pathway behind, and this person seems to be coming out into the sun. It's like they just came from the dark, and if they just turned their neck just a little bit, they'll understand that there's more sun coming from this other path. And there's a butterfly on that card and in several of the others. And I'm seeing this card, which looks incredibly powerful to me. A very much an elder star being or something here. Mentor of some regard. He's balancing 2 swords, but one of them is actually piercing his hand. So that seems interesting. It's bringing up this martyr, victim, savior, martyr type thing, but his chakras are lit up. So I don't know if you identify with the stories of Jesus, but on the symbolic level, it seems to me that part of this process has really been painful